Hey guys, Spets here. Today I'm going to be doing an analysis on the C9 versus TSM game. This is during week 9, day 2. This will decide, this is important for C9 because it will decide if they will have a chance for a tiebreaker with CLG. And if they win that tiebreaker, they get a bye in the playoffs. So it's important for C9, not so much for TSM. They have first seed, and they already have a bye. It's guaranteed for them. But there is some stakes on the line here. So right away, we're going to get into the bans. So Lulu against Dyrus and Bjergsen if he ever decides to play it. It's a flex ban. Rumble against Balls. Obviously, he's well known for his Rumble play. Great team fighting. Nidalee. That's just more a overall ban. Nidalee can put a lot of early pressure and can be quite annoying if you're trying to run like a weak early game comp. Sejuani just because she's strong, again, same with Nidalee. Weaker in the early game, but again, her utility and team fight prowess is not to be messed with right now, along with her damage overall. I'm wondering what kind of comps these players will try to play. Zed against Bjergsen, obviously well known for Zed. It's something that you want to watch out for. Haya also plays it, but maybe they don't really care to play a split push comp, so they just ban out Zed. And the last ban is Morgana, so that's against Lemon Nation. Immediately they grab both Maokai. This denies that the pick from Dyrus, and it's also something that Balls is well known for, so it's a good takeaway. Thinking of picking maybe Zach. Zach has really benefited from the Cinder Hulk changes. You guys probably already know that, along with the buff that he received in. Pretty sure this is played on 5.6, so overall, much better than he used to be. Hope to see him in the future. Let's see, how long does it take? Let's move this forward a little faster. Okay, Rek'Sai would also be good. Allow for early pressure again, one of the advantages versus a tank jungler. And Graves, just overall a strong pick in today's meta. Actually, I feel like Graves is going to slowly become worse and worse as the tanky junglers come out, because Graves is really good for his burst, and he has some DPS with his E steroid, but he can't stay in the fight as long as like other champions simply because of his range. And if once his burst is gone, he doesn't really offer as much as like another DPS carry, let's say like Kog'Maw or I don't know about Tristana nowadays, but those were like the main really high DPS carries that I feel will start to rise up as tank junglers and the tank meta starts to rise. Just he doesn't provide enough. The same, like it's the problem with like burst mages against very tanky champions. Like if you can't burst them down, you're in a lot of trouble because your cooldowns are down while they're just barreling towards you. A good takeaway, a lot of lockdown, a lot of CC. So they have Nautilus, Maokai, and Lissandra. This is actually going to be very difficult for Wild Turtle on Graves. Again, short range. He's gonna need a lot of backup. Maybe like a Janna or something. A Kennen would help too. Kennen is really good for engaging, but also for a counter engage. So if they try to jump into you, you just stun up their whole team and zone their back line even. So Kennen would be a good pick. It's tough right now. Now I actually watched this beforehand, so I saw this. In hindsight, if you saw the game, this is a really uncharacteristic pick for Bjergsen. I know Cho'Gath has seen more play recently in a competitive, but the problem with him is that he doesn't provide enough damage. You have Kennen as a damage source, but Bjergsen is a playmaking player. Just plain and simple. A lot of the times, TSM depend on him to carry the game. If you put him on something like Cho'Gath and he can't do what he can like on Ari or LeBlanc or just a lot of these more like playmaking champions, you run into trouble. So you'll see this in this game. This actually is not a good choice overall. Provides a lot of crowd control and a lot of like CC. Well, that's what crowd control is, but it doesn't provide enough damage at a safe distance like a lot of other mages have, or like a lot of lockdown in the way that like a point and click Lissandra ultimate has. But overall, they have a lot of crowd control as well. They're not going to pick Bard. And I think, I have to see the last pick for TSM. But right now, the lockdown, the engage potential, just everything is really high for C9. And it'll provide Sneaky with the front line he needs to just dish out that damage. So long as he doesn't get caught, they'll be able to dish out damage. But the thing is they're kind of low on damage. Lissandra isn't a high damage mid lane. She's just meant for her crowd control mainly. Against balls on Maokai, not a lot of damage, and I feel like that's why they did pick Vi, because they needed that extra damage. Now right here, this I do not like. Just in general, I do not like Leona because compared to other supports, she's a one-way kind of a champion. You go in and it's very hard to get out. You'll see, I forget how Lustboy did, but just in general, it's hard to do much with Leona. She's really good at engaging. She has a lot of CC, and she's a good front line. But overall, she's just not like a Janna who can disengage. She's just mainly like one way in, not out. And you'll see that's actually a problem later. I would have maybe liked to see a... They do have a lack of engage, but I think maybe a Thresh would have been a little better. Something like that. That would give you more leeway. But again, Solar Flare is really good ultimate. Yeah, there is a lack of damage. I think if Dyrus gets ahead, or if Dyrus does well, this team comp is fairly well rounded. I don't like the Cho'Gath pick. I understand the CC. I think it's because it's fairly good against Lissandra. Like they can really lock down and like prevent her from using her ultimate or trying to use her claw to get away. So in that sense, it's really good. He has one of the longest silences in the game, besides maybe Malzahar now. Now that Kassadin's and LeBlanc's silences are gone. Let's move on a little faster. Doing the hugging, the coaches. But yeah, so kind of low in damage. I think TSM has more damage, but again, it depends on Kennen getting ahead or just doing even like fairly decently. But you'll see, and one of the problems with TSM is that, well, you'll see. I'll show you exactly what happens. They kind of shaft Dyrus, and that's one of the problems they often have. They leave Dyrus to do his own thing, and it really comes to bite them in the butt. They rely so much on Bjergsen to carry the game most times. Like Wild Turtle, maybe sometimes he goes off, sometimes he doesn't. You can't really rely on him to reliably carry the game. And Bjergsen's put on this kind of champion, Cho'Gath. It's not a good way to play. Especially the way they shaft Dyrus. You'll see it play out. And if they don't fix it, I feel like they will get exposed in international play. So let's see. Turtle is looking topside, maybe thinking of lane swapping. No early wards in the opposite jungles. Fairly safe starts. Just guarding entrances, stuff like that. I would give the advantage to Wild Turtle and Lustboy in the 2v2. Like Nautilus does have some damage and peel, but he doesn't have nearly as much damage with like the passive of Leona. So okay, so you see right here, this is one of the problems that you might face. And actually, this is actually good by Sneaky and Elimination. They're gonna get the level. They're not gonna get the level 2, but they're gonna get the experience advantage. And you see right up here, Wild Turtle is trying to freeze the lane. I think he thinks that he will get the lane swap out of this, so he's trying to freeze it. But this is gonna start pushing towards him and give the absolute advantage to Elimination and Sneaky in the lane. They'll get level 2 much quicker. But let's see how. I would like to see the top lane, since I want to see how many minions die out and how much of an advantage they will get. So right now, not too much. It's an early ward, Trinket ward on bot side right here. Huh, I wonder who put that there. So nothing too special in the early laning phase. Yeah, so you see Wild Turtle and Lust Boy, they know, they messed up. They got the early advantage with Gromp, and he tried to freeze, so it's going to start pushing forward. But smart decision by them. They know they're not going to get any experience. They're going to lose on level 2. They go get the Krugs, and since a lot of the minions on the other side aren't dying, they don't really lose out. So this is a good adaptation by them. They screwed up in the level 1, so this will allow them to get at least some experience while it starts to push slowly. Overall standard laning, nothing too big. See Rek'Sai on the top side. There might be a skirmish? No, I think he's just, so he just got an early ward. Wow. So yeah, he cleared quickly. I think he just skipped a camp. I think he just skipped a camp. So he skipped Wraiths just to get that early ward and scuttle control. That's actually good. So he gives the safety to their top lane. So one of the good things about Cho'Gath in lane is his sustain. He's really hard to push out. Usually melees have trouble, but with Cho'Gath's passive, he doesn't have that problem too much. Let's see, nothing going on. Kennen doing his job, being a lane bully. I want to see. So this game, again, like I said, is decided by how Dyrus does, because on this, or how Dyrus and Bjergsen do, because of how they will have a lack of damage if those two do not do well. They already have just the burst damage from Graves, but with the front line that they have on C9, that's not gonna be enough. So both of them have to do well. And yeah, it's just the crowd control from the point and click crowd control from C9 is too high, so they have to get something done. Early ward. So Santorin did a really good job of just like keeping his lane safe this game. He went top side, got the scuttle, got a ward down. Went bottom side, made sure Dyrus was safe. So this is good. But you'll see later things start to get a little bit more exciting. Let's move it forward a bit. CS is about the same on each side. No big deal. TP advantage on Dyrus. It's too late. He doesn't have ultimate though. Not much you can do. Santorin goes top side. And do they have a ward? Wait, one moment. I have to check. So they didn't have a ward. Okay. So Lust Boy he shows that he's gonna push up. Lemon. So right here. Let me see. How early does he see? Yeah, he should have flashed maybe much faster. Yeah, so they did a good job of stacking the crowd control. So yeah, Sneaky had to both heal. I don't know why Elimination used Ignite. Maybe he thought that Santorin was gonna dive, so it was just like a preventive measure. But so they blew 3 summoners there, so return gank might happen. At the same time, Meteos is going in bottom side jungle. He's gonna get Gromp. Yes, he is. Okay. So he's ahead in farm. So one of the things that Meteos does a lot of the times is he just tries to get ahead in farm. Doesn't gank too much. Vi can gank really well, especially with the flash Q. But if you mess up that gank, you're gonna be behind because you really need that flash to get anything done. Yep. Meteos already has level 6, so one of the strengths again to doing this kind of style. He's charging up, and good flash W by balls. Yeah, Dyrus didn't even have a chance, so that wasn't Dyrus's fault. Did he have a trinket up? Let me see. He did not, so where did he put the trinket? Okay, so he put the trinket in the I don't know about that. I guess I understand. So he can't cover all his flanks, but he should have been a little more careful. Let me see something real quick. Did he see Vi? Okay, so yeah, so yeah. So okay, so Meteos left behind the ghost. He smited the wolves and left behind the ghost. So right away, Santorin should have known. He does know that Vi is in the bottom side jungle. He should have told Dyrus, maybe there was a lack in communication, that he would be in bottom side and then he should be more careful. Again, it's hard to tell without comms, but Dyrus should have been even farther back, knowing that Vi was in bottom side. But again, that was just a really good gank. Really good reaction time by both Balls and Meteos. Both flashed, but they got the kill. He had no chance. Let's see. The good thing is that it doesn't really matter. The lane didn't push into tower, it looks like, so Dyrus won't lose too much CS. Actually, okay, so it's starting to push back, so he actually did lose a good amount to the minions. So he'll have a slight disadvantage in CS. Not too big of a deal, though. There's flash down for Balls and Meteos, so that kind of return gank is not as likely to happen and like benefit for them. But he didn't even need to use ultimate for that, which is just the amount of damage that Vi has. Let's move forward a bit. Not too much happening. It's kind of odd that Kai is behind in CS in the mid lane. I know. Actually, I guess it sort of makes sense. And one of the strengths of Cho'Gath is just his sustain, like I said before. But just like his AoE clear. His silence is also really annoying. He just can push out laners really quickly once he gets Catalyst for the mana. So this is what happens in TSM a lot. Dyrus is left by himself on an island, which is fine in most cases, but if he gets ganked, you need to have at least some support to maybe either ward for him. Like Dyrus has had to ward for himself. There is a one up here on ramp. But with Vi, she can jump through the dragon pit and get around that ward, especially if Hai has told Meteos where the ward is. So again, he's going for a return gank bottom, it looks like. Okay, here. So I was distracted a bit. So they know that Santorin is here, Lost Boy is here. They're trying to just waste their time. He should have backed up. Yeah, so he doesn't have flash. Not a good move by them. I would say just move back. It's not really worth it just to waste their time. Just to get, I don't know. It's too risky. I think Elimination should have backed up. He doesn't have flash. I mean, he has his anchor. Maybe he had time. Let me check something. Maybe he was thinking that he could anchor away really quickly. He did have time. He did have time to do it. I guess he didn't expect the flash knock up that quickly, but he did have enough time to anchor away, and I think that's what he was thinking of doing. But at the same time, Meteos sees that there's that there's so much attention topside, gets dragon, walks out. I don't know why, but Santorum should have known that was a possibility, especially since he was topside. He did ult down, so he should have at least checked. I think because he didn't have smite up, he just didn't bother. So he probably just pinged or either just like timed it. But he should have at least checked. He might have been able to scare him away. I don't know. So again, Bjergsen, again, like Cho'Gath isn't a roaming champion for the most part. I mean, he can roam, but he's not like an Ahri, which can really dish out the damage and get it into the into a good spot to get a kill. So I feel like he's just gonna try to farm it out, which again isn't Bjergsen's style, and like it doesn't play to his strengths as such a like a mechanically skilled player. And I think one of the problems is they just played him in a champion role like that. And one of the problems with TSM, they rely too much on him. Let me see. So overall, good vision control by Cloud9. So okay, so they finally, yeah. So again, there's like a lack of vision on bottom side for Dyrus. He just seems to be like this is a big problem. You cannot, if you want to be really good in international play, you cannot just let your bot side, like this is just like just one example, and it's not that bad so just yet. But from what I remember, Dyrus really gets shafted this game. He's just been kind of like the whipping boy for TSM, and you can't just let your bot lane or your top lane. I mean, it's bot lane now, but your top laner just get shafted so hard. Okay, so I remember this a gank by Santorum. They have vision of him. So yeah, I don't think he he did have vision of him though, but not the greatest of ultimates by Lustboy. Flashes, he dodges the E, and that's all that matters. So long as he dodged that, he was fine. Yeah, so the burst damage comes out, and he survives that just because of that dodge of the E. That was really close though. He should have backed up immediately. Did he have to? He didn't. Yeah, so he didn't have flash. He should have backed up. That was very risky. So again, Santorum going to the top side. This game he doesn't go mid because maybe he doesn't think he'll be able to get a gank off of Lissandra with a Cho'Gath, but that's a little odd. I guess he just wanted to return gank on Nautilus with flash. No, flash was up, wasn't it? Yeah, so he just flashed right there. So that was odd. Maybe, yeah, it was on Sneaky that was down. Moving forward. Dyrus doing okay. I wish I could see Dragon Timer right now. Again, take a look at Meteos' farm compared to Santorum's. So they go in for the steal. So they don't have vision bot side, and High most likely communicated to Meteos right here that Cho'Gath was gone. They don't have vision in that area, so he's like, forget it, I'm not gonna even bother. Goes back, plays it safe. That's the right thing to do. Even though Cho'Gath wasn't in the greatest of positions, he doesn't know that. So much resources has been dedicated to top side, and they've only gotten one kill. Just keep that in mind. Meteos just did one gank bot lane. That's it. He's been farming for most of the game, so he's ahead in farm, and he went. I think this is the good build that he did in the context of like the team that he has. Since he does have, there's a lack of damage, but there's such a high amount of crowd control on both Lissandra, Maokai, Nautilus. He went the damage route, which can be really risky, especially into a Kennen. but you'll see how it works out. Since he got the extra farm, he's able to do this, and it'll net some great results for them later. You'll see. Again, Cho'Gath's really annoying. He's got, I don't know how many stacks he has at this point. So he has 6 stacks already with a Rod of Aegis. So again, this is one of the problems with Cho'Gath. He's just like just a wall. But again, it doesn't play into the strengths of Bjergsen. He usually lets Dyrus do that job. Dyrus and Santorin just play the tanks. And again, we'll see how it works out. I know how this game like unfolds, and I know like why it happens. But we'll go over it as time goes on. Again, more attention top lane, letting Dyrus get shafted. They put so much stress top lane, so much, into getting them ahead, and they just let Dyrus just, I don't know. They're not even getting anything done right here. They're losing bot side. They're not responding. They want to get, so yeah, so they finally get back together, and so yeah, so they're going for the top side dive possibly. So Sneaky and Elimination had to back out. Smart by them. I don't know exactly where they are. There, yeah, so there's a lack of vision. There is some more offensive wards, thanks to High, it looks like, and maybe Meteos in the top side and the left side of River. Yeah, so they didn't respond. Like, they're focused so much on top lane. They lose bot lane. I don't know what they were doing in the jungle. They spent so much time in the jungle, and then they lose pressure mid and bottom, and they lose 2 towers. I don't know what TSM is thinking here. They have the vision top side. Yeah, I have no idea. It's not a good idea. Let me see something. Yeah, so all their vision is topside. Again, one of the problems with Leona is she doesn't have disengage. So in situations like, even actually it didn't matter what support he was at that point, since he kind of just like walked in. So he was worried though. Yeah, so he had a feeling that they were around. He should have maybe waited for his team. Right there. Good job by C9, controlling Dragon. Had the vision bot side as well, and this is the problem. They didn't switch their top laner with their bot laner in time, and they completely lose strength of bot side. They should not have lost mid though. I don't know why they allowed the pressure to get relieved there, to the point where they actually lost that tower along with bot. The trade bottom and top was fine. That was perfectly fine. They lost pressure mid and lost that tower as well. That makes no sense. Let me go back real quick. Okay, let's go back. So Bjergsen just straight up recalls. I think he wants to, yes, he wants to prep for Dragon, but so it's a good thing by C9. They time it correctly. High, like smart of him not to go back here. It's okay. Okay, I understand. Maybe you want the Merc Treads Bjergsen, but you lose pressure mid. You don't even have vision bot side near Dragon. So even if you did go back to buy, so you can be prepared for Dragon, for maybe be a little stronger. He does have the more magic resist now. It doesn't matter at this point. You just lost all control bot side and mid. So let's go. So they take Dragon, it looks like. TSM can't contest. They have topside strength. They didn't switch fast enough, so they didn't switch their dual lane quickly enough, and they just lost the Dragon. Again, second Dragon. It's not too big of a deal, but it will slowly start to stack up, and they can't allow that to happen so easily. Again, Dyrus is behind, getting shafted. And Balls is really far ahead. He got that kill on Lost Boy as well. Like, Leona's really good when ahead. Like, she just gets tanked up. But when behind, she's not the greatest of support. She's not like a Janna, which is always useful. Like, she does have her CC, but 2 of her abilities will require her to be very close, like in proximity to the enemy. Which is why I don't like Leona in this case. I think Thresh would have been much better. Because he has the like when he hooks someone, he has the ability to disengage. He has the choice of either going in or not. He can decide. And right here, Bjergsen is trying to push against balls, which is really weird. Which is fine if he has backup from bottom side. He clears the wave though. Yeah, so just oversight by TSM again. Just Kennen can't do anything against that. Like, he doesn't have the wave clear. I don't even understand. What is... One moment. Okay, so Santorin is bot side. Why isn't he just ult top? Like, what is he doing? Do they want to dive the Maokai? Because that's not going to work. And then, so they don't have any like clear direction. They lose a second tower. Like, I understand why Wild Turtle is mid, so he can clear the wave and doesn't push into mid. Actually, even then, like, they lose a second tower here. I was like, when I was watching this, I was so confused. Like, why did he walk up there? He could have ulted up there. And he just loses the tower. I don't know what Santorin was doing. Again, Dyrus gets shafted. This is a constantly recurring theme in TSM, and I feel like if you've ever seen some of the interviews with Dyrus, you can tell that he's kind of getting annoyed with the fact that they just allow him to get farther and farther behind. Kennen needs his items. He was required to get Abyssal here, and you don't really want to get Abyssal as Kennen early. If you have to, you do get it, but Zanya's is one of your core items. Without that, you can't do as much as you want to as Kennen. You can't be as aggressive, and you can't be in the middle of the team fight. So as Kennen falls farther and farther behind, he just becomes weaker and weaker. And just TSM does not realize that, apparently. Their strategy has to be... Yeah, and like you see, Bjergsen again has the farm on the team. So he should be the one carrying on Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath can do a lot of damage, so I won't take that away from him, but you'll see it's not a good pick in this case. So overall, it's an oversight by TSM. I don't know what Santorin was doing. He could have ulted top. I just want to make sure he could actually ult top. Where did he ult? Let me see something. So he didn't have ult, but... Okay, so he ults really late. Like, there's no point in ulting there. Why didn't he ult... Did you see right here? Why didn't he ult over here? I think maybe he was afraid of a 4-man dive. But if you're gonna ult, do it much earlier. You saw that bottom wave was not gonna be... You're not gonna push it as 3 melee champions when Maokai just clears it immediately. It was just a silly decision. I think that might just be inexperience and like what to do, but that should not have happened. Let's see. So let's see Vision. Vision is like completely in control of Cloud9. Look at the top side of TSM's jungle. Like, they have complete vision. They have complete vision of Baron. So if they really wanted to, let's see what kind of items they have. They could, yeah. So they have the tanks to do it, and they also have the damage to do it with Vi and Lucian. So they're trying to get some vision back. At the same time, Cloud9 is getting vision of bot side. Let me see. So it looks like they completely clear vision except for some of the topside jungle, which is good. But now they're going back. So I always look at the mini map during games because I want to see where the wards are. So okay, so Dragon is not too soon. Meteos puts down a pink. So yeah, TSM didn't even get. They just denied vision. So maybe they didn't have wards up, but they have just that one ward in the banana brush. Let's keep moving this forward. One's Dragon coming up, 44 seconds. Again, great job by Cloud9 with the vision control. They got there ahead of time, made sure to defend their wards. The TSM is on the defensive. They don't have any forward wards. With a team like the one that Cloud9 has, vision is very important because of how they can just pick off any champion with their lockdown. Right here, oof. I remember this part. Right now, High should have just immediately flashed. Like this was a very, you'll see. He throws out the claw. Like Cloud9 has complete control. He throws out the claw, and honestly, he probably would have had no chance of getting a wild turret there, so long as he eat. And he just doesn't flash. He just wants to try to save it, and they lose High. Right when Dragon is coming up too. And this is at the point in the game where this is what TSM is waiting for. Cannon gets a kill, which is good for him. He really needs that. They get a free Dragon, basically. Yeah, so he just tried to save the flash. It was very greedy by him. He should have just gone for the flash instead of trying to juking the Q by Cho'Gath. One of the good things about Cho, he can just catch people out like that. It's a delayed crowd control, but it's still fairly strong and wide in AoE. And again, they lose bot side control just because of that one move, one mistake. Yeah, so I'm just gonna skip past this. They're just going over. Like, it took them so long to kill Elimination there, and he's a support, so keep that in mind. Knowing that TSM had control of bot side and their wards were bot side because of the Dragon, they tried to rush Baron, which is actually good. And I remember here Santorin gets the just like a mistake that should not happen. What should have happened is they should have just stopped doing Baron right there and instantly killed Santorin. Let me see when he comes in. So 1400. So immediately ult was, where's High? Oh, High jumped over? What is he doing? So he claws over. Yeah. He still gets the ult off, but... Oh, okay, I see. So the ult also did damage to the Baron, so they just bursted it down. Yeah, that was unfortunate. Maybe they should have waited. And just waited for Santorin to get up to the wall and just killed him. They could have easily killed him right there. That or chunked him out so he couldn't have a chance of stealing it. So big mistake by Cloud9. It's just like foresight. Maybe they thought they would just be able to instantly kill him, but Baron was too low at that point. So they have vision over, right? Hopefully they had vision over. I see that there's a ward in this bush right here, but maybe they're going around the corner. It's unfortunate for them. Allows TSM to get back in the game. And just notice here, I don't like to talk about build paths too often, just because there's very many variations of what you can do, and they can still be very effective. It all depends on how you play the champion and how you want to play it out. The build by Bjergsen right here, I do not like. He went defensive, very heavy defensive, which is I don't really like, but it can work out if you go some damage along with it. So he went Glacial Shroud for the 10% CDR, and he went Morello's. Who are you trying to go Morello's against? The CDR is fine, but Cho'Gath isn't a Morello's champion, really. He needs just the straight up damage. I understand he's trying to get like all the CDR he can, just so he can lock down champions. But the amount of resources he used on defensive items already, along with the Morellos, which isn't that much damage. He could have gotten maybe a Nuclear Rod, worked towards maybe a Zanya's or a Death Cap. Cho'Gath can do a lot of damage, and he needs his team to do damage. He already has the front line of Leona, and Rek'Sai is building tanky. Like, he's already got a random wins, he's got Sightstone. He's building some magic resist now. He needed to go damage. Morello's was not necessary. There's no healing reduction you need, maybe against Maokai, but who cares? That's not like the strongest thing about Maokai. Like, he still has that damage reduction. So I don't like that build by Bjergsen. If he's really far ahead, it won't really matter, but you'll see like it'll come back to bite him in the butt. Cloud9 just, what are they doing? Trying to get vision of bot side. So they were trying to get blue. Don't think that was worth it. They probably couldn't defend that mid side, especially with the Baron minions. Too powerful at this point. They end up losing 2 towers for it. Probably not the smartest thing to do. Balls gets initiated on, doesn't really matter. Because the other teammates of TSM were not able to follow up. They see top side though that they have to clear that. It's getting pretty big, and it'll eventually reach their tower. And Dyrus doesn't have Zanya's yet. He's in a decent spot right now though. Those mistakes by Cloud9 allowed him to get back in the game, but you'll see it's a recurring problem with TSM that they let Dyrus get behind. In international play, you don't see that kind of stuff, and when you do, that player usually gets destroyed in team fights, and that team usually loses. You don't allow your top lane to get that far behind in some games. Unless they're like, I understand that Kennen offers crowd control, but he's also a large damage source that people underestimate. And when he doesn't have items and levels, he can't do that. He's doing well this game though, despite what happened. Dyrus is doing a good job. This one's Dragon. Baron's still up. It looks like they have... Huh. Oh yeah, Rek'Sai didn't have Baron because he died. Sandra's top, bot side. Recalling. They're probably going to lose this tower though. Oh, guess not. Maybe. Okay, so Sandra got home guard, it looks like. No, okay, never mind. I thought she got out pretty fast. So they're worried. So their Baron ran out. So they have a few decisions. Graves isn't a sieging AD carry, but the nice thing about Cho'Gath is he can kind of zone and give pressure to Wild Turtle with his ruptures. But the threat of engage by Cloud9 is really high. They don't have Mikhail's. It doesn't even look like Wild Turtle's going Mikhail's because it's not a great item on Leona. And he doesn't have QSS, so they just can't push on that. Even with the Zanya's on Kennen, they can't do that. Too much crowd control, too much lockup, and just tanking or durability on the side of Cloud9. Despite that mistake, their lead early on allowed them to stay in the game, and they lost a few towers, but it's not the worst. So Dragon's about to come up. TSM trying to get vision control. Both top laners. It looks like Balls is just about to get his TP up. So yeah, both top laners will have TP. Medios. So again, like right there, like he was forced to flash just because of Cho'Gath, and that was a good reaction by Medios. Like just don't take the risk. Just flash. This is what High should have done. And right here, Sneaky is the one that kind of has to. He like it looks like he's like in a weird position. Like, what are you doing, Sneaky? But he kind of has to do this. Like, he has to do the damage to Cho'Gath. Because Lissandra sure as hell isn't gonna do the damage. Sneaky, I don't know what is going on here. One moment, I have to like turn this back. Yeah, it's just like TSM looks like they're really disorganized. Good ult by Kennen, gets the Zanyas off. Sneaky takes up so much of, oh my god. So he took so much of the focus from TSM, and he gets out alive. So just look at this again. He blocks, he dodges everything. Good ult by Dyrus, but he gets shafted right there. They just back up. Lemonation was really good about like holding the focus of Wild Turtle. This is a really good recovery by Wild Turtle. But again, this is the problem with Graves. Like he just can't get through the tanks. Like, the only reason he was able to kill Meteos is because he didn't go like full tank. He went a lot of damage. So he just can't do anything. At least until his last whisper, but even then, like, he's just not one of those like carries. So yeah, just look at Sneaky, dodging everything. He's just taking the pressure of 3 people right there. Wild Turtle wasn't in a position, so yeah, that was a good TP by Balls. If you notice right there, he's TPing at the bottom right here. So where is? Okay, so yeah, so Wild Turtle has to walk away. He can be okay, like walking up. He actually ease in to get an ult off, but he's just zoned. But yeah, so good job by Lemonation and Balls, just completely zoned him out of the fight, and they all collapsed on Dyrus. Dyrus dies. Bjergsen again just doesn't really do much. They have to be on the same page to get anything done. Good move by Wild Turtle, but he gets 2 kills off. Almost kills Lemonation, but he's smart enough to back up. But yeah, just Balls is so tanky right now, so can't really do much. He didn't even have much armor there. Once he gets armor, it's going to be even more difficult. Dyrus gets a TP off. Where was he? Okay, so he's just pressuring top lane. They're just trying to get vision control back. Again, C9, you'll see just over and over there. Just have really good vision control. Really good rotations. That's why they've been so strong. And it's actually something that they've been kind of lacking. I don't know if it's that or just individual mistakes overall, but that's what made them so good and why they're kind of like coming back. Like, despite all their bad performances in the beginning of the split, they were able to come back, and basically they're second place now. It's like insane. So they're just threatening. Let me see something. I wish I could see Santorn's abilities right here. So he doesn't use his Prey Seeker. Okay, so he did have his Prey Seeker up. I don't understand what Lustboy is doing here. Maybe he was afraid they were going to rush Baron and just like burst it down. But that was a mistake by Lustboy right there. Just walks straight into the middle of all of them. And right there, Wild Turtle. Like, one of the strengths of Nautilus is just like his ult is really good. It has like that knock up, and it has the stun at the end of it. They could have maybe followed. Actually, no, they probably had all their cooldowns down. Let's see something. Yeah, so just the lockdown and engage from C9 is so high. Yeah, so Wild Turtle just, he couldn't do anything there at that point. Maybe if he went up to the right towards his team, he could have done something. And all the while, what can Bjergsen do? Like, what he's gonna do to, I don't know, a team with Locket. Like, a lot of people on that team have magic resist. The only one who doesn't have magic resist is Sneaky, and maybe Elimination. But he has a decent amount of health. What is Cho'Gath gonna do? He has to be in the middle of all of them to even do any damage. And being in the middle of like a team with so much AoE damage, even if you have tanked up, it doesn't matter. You either have too much tank stats or too little damage, or no, too little damage or too much damage, and then you have not enough tank stats. I feel like with Cho'Gath you have to be quite far ahead or get a really good setup on your CC to do anything. Against a team like this, he can't do anything. Just doesn't play to Bjergsen's strengths again. Balls is getting just huge, no pun intended. But he's 5-0-5 right now, so. So TSM had to get ahead in this game. And it's honestly just on, just like the team comps. Leona needs to be ahead. Cho'Gath, and in the way they're playing him and like the role that he's been being played as, he needs to be ahead. Like so, yeah. So he had a Prey Seeker up. Just Lost Boy should have waited. They lose Baron off that. Just a simple mistake that shouldn't have happened. Wild Turtle should just back up at this point. Back up into the right. E to the right. Okay, so yeah, at this point, once Nautilus walked up, he couldn't go to the right. So just look at this. He's just too greedy, trying to get CS right here. So just two mistakes, one right on top of the other. Santorin tries to save him, but at that point, you can't do anything. The Irish tries to do something too, and it's just like they all get piled on top of. Let's move forward. At this point, it's just up to C9 not to make any huge mistakes. They have the advantage, unless Dyrus gets like a lot of damage, or yeah, I think him and Wild Turtle have to do all the damage. And without like QSS on Wild Turtle, does he have a QSS yet? I want to see once they change the screen. He should really have a QSS at this point. Okay, so I don't know if he had that Vamp Scepter from before. I want to see this. So it looks like he had that Vamp Scepter for a while. He has damage. He has lots of damage, but it doesn't matter. He needs a QSS. There's no way he's going to do anything in any fight. So long as High or Balls or any of like the main damage sources, Meteos or any of the lockdown, just do their job right, they're not going to, like, TSM should really not win this game until Wild Turtle gets a QSS. Like, there's no way he can do a thing. He's too low range against too much lockdown. Let me see what happens here. That they have to back up. So it's just they have too much control with Baron right now. What did Cho'Gath do right now? I mean, he has his Q for wave clear, but he has no damage. There's just a few things that, like, what lost them the game? Dyrus not being ahead. Like, he could do a lot of damage. Can do a lot of damage if he's well farmed and well fed, that kind of stuff. But he's like, compared to like the rest of his team. Like, I know, so like, look at this, 247. So he's like even with his top laner. That's not a problem. But compared to the rest of his team, he doesn't have as much gold. The money for Bjergsen just wasn't well spent. That Morels could be like a huge damage, maybe a Void even, and he could do some decent damage. But even then, against the tank line of what they're dealing with, he can't do a thing. Sneaky is the only target he can go for. I mean, Lissandra maybe, but she has a Zhonya's, and she has her ult. What are you going to do against that? So yeah. So overall, TSM can't do anything at this point. Bjergsen should have picked something else, or they had to get really far ahead. Let's see. This is all up to Cloud9 not making any huge mistakes, and is finishing this game. Yeah, like, at this point, maybe if Dyrus had a death cap, he would be a second damage source. Like, if you have one damage source, it's not enough. Ken has a huge damage source, but he's just a little too far behind at this point. And it's not the fault of Dyrus at all. So yeah, you see there? Doesn't, like, Bjergsen can't do a thing. Maybe if he was, let's see. I think at this point he should have just flashed. But even then, I'm pretty sure you just get locked down and killed. Yeah, so just really good team fighting by C9. Let's take a look. Wait, what are they doing? So yeah, so right there, I think, does he have anywhere to teleport to? So he does. He might have been able to teleport Dyrus to this ward right here, this pink ward, in the side brush on River. But it was too late. Yeah, Bjergsen just got caught. Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, like you see how much damage he, like, Kennen did to Meteos. Meteos doesn't even have that many tank items. He just doesn't even have enough time to use his rotation. So, yeah. Nothing that TSM could do at that point. Just down to team comp. They had to get ahead really early, or they just lost. So, overall, I don't know. I think, so the main things I would say is that TSM puts a lot of their focus on places besides topside or the top laner, so Dyrus. Dyrus is usually left to fend for himself, while Meteos he's okay with helping out balls. He's okay with helping out any lane. Usually he goes to help out balls, it seems like, but he just has an overall well-rounded idea of how he wants to play the game out as a jungler. He has more control over the map than Santorin does. Santorin focuses so much on mid usually, as usually when Bjergsen has like playmaking champions. But since Bjergsen isn't on a playmaking champion, which he absolutely needed to be on, it just seems like TSM focus or just rely too much on him. And as like an international team and as a really good team, that can work to a point. But when you go up against really good and well coordinated teams at the top level of play, like we've seen at we saw it at Worlds. Not everyone on Samsung White was the best in their role, but it's the coordination that they had together that made them the best. There were teams that could rival in talent, but their coordination wasn't there compared to them. So yeah. Overall, really well played game by C9. Just they look like how they usually do. And TSM just, again, like I already told you, Bjergsen had to be on a playmaking champion. Dyrus always is just shafted by his team. And just not enough damage against the tank line. Graves wasn't a good pick either in that scenario. Overall, just well played by C9. So I think that's all I have to say. If you guys like this analysis, let me know. I'm going to keep doing these, try to do them maybe 1 or 2 a week on games I find interesting. And I'll go on from there. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.